Hello and welcome to the Clock and Talk, an Arsenal podcast, and we're covering, for fuck's sake.
Good job me and Schwinn are a lot more prepared than you, because if we came on and went, oh yeah, we didn't watch the game either, we was on the piss, it'd be a pretty shit podcast.
Well, Mesut Ozil is the best number 10 in the Premier League.
Yeah, that all looks good on paper, but there's never been a football match played on paper, so it's not really worth much.
I'm going to make a bold prediction that Jack Wilshere will sign for West Ham United.
It's time to start watching football with your eyes. I think people listen to what the commentator's saying and have that as their own opinion, but if you watch what's going on, you'll see things a lot clearer.
Schwinn, who do you think is going to win the Golden Boot?
I think Alexis Sanchez might do a number on that this year.
Okay. Tony talks about a clock being right twice a day. Tez is right every day. Try it from 5, lads. Fucking beauty. Hello and welcome to the Clock and Talk. I'm your host Tez. You can follow us on Twitter at clockand_talk each and every week. I have Tony and Schwinn joining me. How are we, Tony?
Yeah, I'm first again. Cool, getting a habit of this. Yeah, I'm good. I'm very good after yesterday.
Good win, mate, eh?
Yeah, I've had worse days at the Emirates, put it that way.
And Schwinn, you have been MIA, mate, for a very long time, but here you are on the podcast. Nice of you to join us.
Yeah, no way I'm going to miss this one, am I? After yesterday, the performance we put in, the result we got at the end of the day. And all in all, it's just been a fantastic day. You know, Aubameyang scores, 2 goals and assists 1. And then I go on and score 5 goals and assist 3 in my Sunday League team. So how about that?
Now, I went a prediction, Tony, 2-1. You went a prediction of 2-1. Schwinn, I think you went
2-0.
2-0, did you? Fucking 4-2, boys. Fuck me. I didn't see that coming. Yeah, I was half right. I think you copied me, though, didn't you?
I don't think it did.
But anyway, let's get into it, boys. Where do we start? Look, let's start with the first 10 minutes up to Aubameyang's goal, Tony. And how do you think we started out of the blocks? First 10 minutes, and then talk us through Aubameyang's goal.
Yeah, I thought we started very well, very quickly. We was on the front foot. We wasn't giving them much time. We were snapping into tackles. It's probably the best we've started this season in any game. Obviously, we win the free kick out wide from a Aurier mistake, but it's Aurier, you can kind of bank on it. Great ball by Granit, and I have no idea what Vertonghen was doing. I mean, I don't particularly care, but not a clue what he was doing. It was strange because obviously sitting in the ground, I saw the light. Like, it was the other end of the pitch, so you can't see if someone's hands touch the ball when it's in a crowd of players like that. But the linesman was flagging instantly, and we didn't know what. And then I saw all the Arsenal players appealing, so I thought, it must have been handball. And then obviously watching it back, it was just a crazy decision from Vertonghen, and a very good penalty from Aubameyang. He's waited for the keeper to go down and just rolled it the other way. I don't know if people watch a lot of the training videos that Arsenal released, but they had one recently and they just showed 5 minutes of, I think it was Eddie, Lacazette and Aubameyang taking penalties, and they never looked like they were going to miss. They were so calm and composed and were just putting them in every time. And then you get into a game and they're about to take one and suddenly you're a bag of nerves, but I guess that's football for you.
It is. And Schwinn, you thought I missed the lineup, but I actually wanted to come to you with the lineup. So I did go things asked about, and only because your man wasn't in the game, mate.
No, he wasn't, and it seems like, I mean, I've only read this on Twitter. I've not gone through the transcript myself or seen the video of the press conference, but it seems like there was a back spasm issue that we know Mesut is niggling with and trying to deal with. He wasn't involved in the matchday squad altogether, and As I said last week, I thought that there might be a chance we might, continue playing that back 3, and Bournemouth was, in a way, a litmus test, whether we want to continue with that and whether that's something we're suited to. I think we all can agree we are. Our center backs particularly, and even Kolasinac to an extent, is more suited to that system. They're good players, but one-on-one they can be suspect, and we saw that to an extent yesterday. when they have extra cover, then they're able to be a bit more efficient on the ball and be a bit more physical. They can go in aggressively and make sure that if they lose the ball, there's someone there to cover for them. So I thought the system was very good. What I really enjoyed, and I'm going forward a bit here, but what I really enjoyed was that we started with a 3-4-2-1, and Tottenham sort of started with a 4-3-1-2. But at the end of the day, we won with a 4-3-1-2, and Tottenham lost with a 3-4-2-1. So I thought there was some irony there. Of course, Eric Dyer, the situations that happened with him were hysterical. And I just thought in every department, in every aspect, tactically, Unai Emery just told Mauricio Pochettino, this is my ground, this is my home, and you're not going to get points away from me here.
Mm-hmm. Tony, Schwin's type of segued into the next goal, and it was Dwyer, levelled it at 1-1. I'd imagine things at the stadium went a bit quiet, and Dwyer runs over with his hand up to his lips with a shush, which seemed to get, erupt the fans a bit, erupt the players a little bit.
You say it went quiet. I think this season we've been a lot better for that as a fan base, whereas before we'd start moaning or go silent. But this season we've been really good at, when we concede a goal, getting behind the team and trying to get them back on the horse, so to speak. So it didn't overly go quiet. I don't think Dyer's done anything wrong, if I'm honest. Aubameyang celebrated in front of their fans. He didn't shush them, but he might as well have done. And obviously we didn't touch over it, but an idiot threw the banana. He's been banned for life from football, and rightly so. But then obviously coming on to their goal, Dyer's shushed our fans. I don't see anything wrong with it, but fair play to Lichtsteiner. And Lichtsteiner started all that by basically telling Dyer, you can't do that in front of my fans. And it started a bit of I don't want to say a brawl, because it wasn't a brawl. It started a bit of a melee. And it was good to see our players piling in. It was good to see our players wanted it, and everyone was involved, and all the players got it. I mean, you saw Lichtsteiner, Guendouzi, Ramsey, Maitland-Niles running down the touchline to get involved. I want to see that. I don't care how unsavoury people think it is. Look, they didn't go too far. No one punched anyone. No one kicked anyone. No one endangered anyone. But they all got involved and let them know you can't do that. And I would expect the other teams to do the same to us. And in years gone by, our players wouldn't have got involved in that. So I enjoyed it. As I tweeted last night, that it's good to see a group of players that just get it. And you could see that all through that game. They understood. Maybe the derby doesn't mean too much to players, because let's be honest, most players now are mercenaries. They play where the money is, and they'll love that club while they're paying their wages, and then they'll love the next person who pays their wages. But at least at the very minimum, the players understood what it meant to the fans, and they showed that on the pitch, which was pleasing. On the actual goal, we was annoyed in the ground because we didn't think it was a foul on Son. The way he went down, it was a foul. Socrates stood on his heel, but the way Son went down was like he was fouled from the other side, and we could clearly see he wasn't. So we felt a bit cheated, which always helps you to come back when you feel cheated, because it's like you got a bee in your bonnet. And also, I think I've still not really seen a proper replay of it with the lines drawn across, but it must have been very, very close to offside. As I said, I've watched now Match of the Day and Sky Sports' highlights package as well. And they never done it with, like they draw the line across to see if he's offside or not. Neither of them have done it. But maybe it's because I'm that side. So Dyer was pretty much the closest player to me that was in the area. But he looked in front of everyone else. As I said, it was tight. I don't know if you used to have seen replays with the line across and if he was offside or not.
Schwinn?
I don't think he's off. I think Granit... and I'm not trying to take him out here. I think Granit plays him on. Kolasinac plays him on. If anything, if you want to make conclusions about whose mistake it was, you could make a case for Hector Bellerin not following his man. I think it was his ball to clear. And more importantly, I think it was Leno who sort of made the error.
Leno has to save that. Also, as well, another thing, just Dyer made a foul just before that free kick, and advantage was played, and it took about 2 minutes, and then they've won that free kick. And Dyer was actually at the back post, and I think this is what messed Arsenal up. And I'm not making an excuse, because you've got to reshuffle, but Dyer was at the back post and we was lined up, and Dean's called him over to where the free kick is to have a chat with him and tell him don't make a foul again or whatever nonsense he said. And then Dyer's gone back in at the front post and Arsenal didn't readjust. So I think Arsenal were set up for Dyer at the back post, which is where he was. And Mike Dean's inadvertently assisted, or I say inadvertently, he would do it advertently if he could. But he's helped him out there.
I'm just going to touch on, and you talked about the offside a little bit there and who was playing on. You mentioned very quickly, I don't want to take the piss out on him here, but Leno, you said he should have saved it. I think it was a very, very big error by Leno. He has to cop a bit of criticism there, boys.
Yeah, he has to save that. There's no glossing over it. I don't want to come out of a game like that and criticise anyone, but in that moment, and look, he made some good saves and he came off his line really well a couple of times. But in that moment, you have to save that. There's no...
Yeah.
No way
that's all right. I just want to make sure that we're just not glossing over it. Like, we've stuck by our guns, and if somebody, has had a fucking a shocker, like, and I think that was an absolute shocker of a what was it? Yeah, an attempt at trying to save the goal. He was caught way off his line anyway, and it was just he was looking at the back post, I think. So yeah, I think that was a pretty poor effort by Leno on that one. But he has been very good. But that was one that he should have saved, I think. Obviously, then we go Schwinn, Harry Kane, 34th minute, and they go up 2-1.
Yeah, I mean, on the day I thought Son was their best player. He gave us a lot to worry about right from the beginning when the first chance fell to him. I think Dele Alli played him behind Rob Holding, and that he produced an effort that made Leno produce a good save. Another good run from this time from the left-hand side, leaving Mustafi in the dirt. And again, Leno produced a good save. But that effort to, that led to the penalty is, in my opinion, a clear simulation. It's a clear dive. If anything, Rob Holding just brushed him. He didn't knock him off his feet. Look, we can debate whether Rob should be going in like that. And when the game is, at that fast pace, it's tough for the referee to get it correct. I want to give Mike Dean a bit of, benefit of the doubt here, because when I watched it in real time, I thought it's a penalty right away. And referees obviously don't have the benefit of replays. So we can talk about Rob Holding going in there. Credit to Son for that cheeky back flick that he tried to do, like a Cruyff turn, like a back chop essentially, to get out of Rob Holding's path. But it's a clear dive, and the place where I want to draw attention to is Son after he went to ground, because he's not out there making a meal out of it. He's just sort of holding his ankle. He's got no pain or an expression of pain on his face, and that to me was an indication that it's not a bad foul. It's not a foul. He didn't catch him. If anything, as I said, he brushed him. But they made the most of it. And when Harry Kane steps up on the spot, he doesn't miss a whole lot. I was hoping Leno could do something about it. We used to check in goal for penalties, and I know he saved one against Watford, but historically his record has not been pleasant. But
yeah, Harry Kane, he doesn't miss many, and the way he hits them, he does. He'd have to be one of the hardest to bloody save against, I reckon. So I won't single Leno out on that one.
Yeah, definitely. But it's a dive. I mean, I don't know what you guys think about it. I'm pretty sure you would agree with me. But it's a dive.
It's hard. You could say a dive. Look, I think he did clip him on the back. When he slid down. I do question why you're sliding in the box like that anyway. I know you're trying to obviously stop Son, but for me, you're always taking that risk. If it's not a clean hit on the ball, you're always going to take that 50-50 gamble of, if I fuck this up, this is going to be a penalty. So, I don't know. What would you like your players doing that, Tony, or you prefer them to play at the safe option?
Well, I mean, look, first off, it's a clear dive. I'm not hearing anything. I may have touched a pixel of his boot. That doesn't make you jump up in the air and go down. And secondly, I've seen a lot of stick for Holding about this, and I completely disagree with every single person I've seen do it. I saw a lot of tweets come in last night about it, and I was holding my tongue to wait to to wait to say it on here rather than tweet it out and then have to repeat it on here. But he's not tried to make the tackle. He's gone to block the shot, and as Schwinn said, Son's done very well to chop back inside him. But then I don't think Son realised Bellerin was there, so he's chopped back inside him, realised he's going to lose the ball, and gone down. But Holding's not tried to make the tackle. He slid in to block the shot, and if he doesn't do that and they score, everyone go, "Oh, why hasn't Holding tried to block the shot when Son's 5 yards out or whatever he was?" I think Holding's done everything right, and he's been cheated. I think it's as simple as that. If you look. So I'm glad Schwinn just mentioned both of them. When Son took the shot that Leno saved from the right, Holding slid in and done exactly the same thing, and the shot beat Holding and Leno saved it. And Son is where he's won the penalty from. As Schwinn said, Son had a shot from pretty much the same position 3 or 4 minutes before. So you think you could expect him to shoot from there because he has previous form for doing it slightly before. I think Holding's done everything right. I think if he stays on his feet there and Son smashes it in, people go, "Oh, Holding could have done better in trying to block that." I would fully agree with everyone if I thought Holding had tried to make the tackle, but he didn't. He wasn't trying to hit Son. He wasn't anywhere near Son. He was expecting the shot and trying to block the shot. And if he doesn't go to ground there, he gets hammered.
I'm more, and I'm just watching it back now. My memory's fucked, so yeah, I've got to watch these back as we go along here. And I'm just watching Holden, and you're dead right. He does go to ground. He's trying to block the shot, but I'd want to see a bit more from Bellerin. Just quietly, I'm looking at Bellerin, and I'm thinking he could have done a bit more but then Holding was coming across very fast. So whether he's seen him and try to hold back a bit, I don't know. But he's a very dangerous player.
Bellerin's done the right thing as well. I think he's covered on the inside in case Son chopped in like he did, and I don't think Son knew he was there. So I think Son's chopped inside and he's done well, and probably thought I've got loads of time here, and then realised Bellerin's there and thought, fuck, I can't do anything, so he's gone down, and everyone fell for it. And as I said, even it's annoying me that the amount of Arsenal fans I've seen go, "Oh, it's a dive, but Holding shouldn't." No, you don't need, after that sentence ends at "it's a dive." You can't start blaming someone for going in and not touching someone.
Mm-hmm.
It's just stupid.
I agree with you.
Blame people.
Yeah, look, and the actual contact, and like I said, I'm just watching it back, and fuck me, it's half a bee's dick. Like it's. I don't even know if he's hit him, actually. Maybe shoelaces, as you say. Yeah, maybe you're right, boys. Any more to add on that, Schwinn?
No, not really. I mean, it's I tweeted out as soon as we conceded that penalty that it was one cheap goal and one cheat goal, and that, I mean, on the day, that's what they needed. They were not capable of delivering anything else. I mean, as you guys spoke about, the first 20 minutes were pretty much dominated by us, and we will obviously come on to the second half, in which they were non-existent. We took the game by the scruff of the neck, and we were the instigators. We were the one driving the train at that point. So they had to resort to these tactics, and it's good to see in a way that, because we came back game where we faced a lot of adversity, I thought it was a very complete performance, and it's these situations that light a fire in your belly and make you go the extra mile, and we saw that, and that's exactly what we want to see in a time of transition, if you will. So in a way, they helped us. They gave us a bit more impetus, and we did miss a few chances before they even scored their first goal. So Iwobi had a couple of moments where he was dwelling on the ball a bit too long. Aubameyang had half a chance where the ball was a bit too behind him in one instance. So we were threatening. We had the quality on the day, as we proved. But it's these situations that truly challenge you. And if the game had gone the other way, then of course we'd be singing a different. It didn't, and we went and got the 3 points, and in an incredible fashion. So fuck them. We got the points. We're the better team. Always in our shadow. Let's move on.
Okay, and that's a wrap for the podcast. Thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading. You've been listening to The Clock and Talk.
And Taz has disappeared.
No, I'm here.
I thought you were muted for a second.
No, your internet's very bad at the moment, mate. So I was trying to tune in on you because we were getting every second word of you talking there, but that's all right. So what I missed this one, Tony. I must have been fucking, I don't know. Mustafi, that yellow card on and Schwinn's type of gone through to the next half, but 37th minute he got a yellow.
I think it's a totting up. Yeah, no, it was a totting up. I remember I don't think it was a bad challenge, but he had spoke to him previously, so it was more a totting up thing, which seemingly totting up only counts when you play for Arsenal. Okay. But he did point and say, there was one over there and one over there.
Yeah, right, okay. That's probably what I missed it then. Okay, righto, second half, obviously, look, Iwobi goes off, Lacazette comes on, Ramsey comes on, and Mickey goes off. What was your reaction there in the ground, and what was your thoughts?
I was a bit surprised because I think, and I'm obviously not the biggest Mkhitaryan fan, but I think both of them could have felt hard done by in coming off. It wasn't like, sometimes you see players play terrible and they get subbed off and you think, yeah, okay. I don't think either of them played badly. So it was obviously a tactical change, and it worked, and it was genius from Emery, to be fair. But at the time, I could see what he was doing, and I'm not saying I was criticising it. I just thought, them players can probably feel a bit hard done by.
Mm-hmm. Mm. I thought Iwobi was okay. He didn't do anything bad. He didn't. Look, if anything, I was probably cursing at the one he missed. I thought, there's an argument he could have got that goal. But then again, there was one Lacazette could have hit as well. So, but the type of went in behind. It was a little bit back from not Lacazette, Aubameyang. But it was a hard ball to control. But so I'm not riding Iwobi off. I've seen a few people ride Iwobi and Mkhitaryan off, but
I don't think either of them were bad.
No,
honest.
No, they weren't outstanding, but they weren't dreadful. So, yeah. Okay, so obviously I think that's really when the turning point come back, and then you back with us, Schwinn?
Yeah, he's here.
Yeah, okay. So, and then if Schwinn wants to talk us through the goal with Aubameyang, assist by Ramsey.
What a goal. I mean, I'm just going to quickly talk about the finish because I should give credit to Hector Bellerin here because he played in a delicious pass to Ramsey, who found Aubameyang very early on. And I thought this was Hector Bellerin's best game under Emery this season. But that finish is just class. That is the level that we expect from Aubameyang. And he's been accused of being a tap-in merchant and whatnot. And I know we particularly don't care as long as he's scoring goals. But when he's scoring goals like that, then you have a proper striker, that one we've lacked for a very long time, arguably since Robin Van Persie. And there's nothing you can do about a finish like that. It's extraterrestrial. It's levels, and it's beyond what I had imagined he would do in that situation. It's just a perfect finish.
Yeah, it definitely was. It was, mate. Great. Really good finish. And look, I was fucking jumping up, enjoy it. Levelled us up 2-2, and I was like, you fucking beauty. And then Tony, obviously, Lacazette. And I still don't even know where this come from because it just shocked me. And I know it was a deflection on Lacazette's goal, but once again, assisted by Ramsey. And he'll get the assist for it, but I don't know where it come from. I didn't expect him to shoot.
No, well, first of all, because Schwinn didn't mention it, Aaron Ramsey absolutely changed the game. And I said it when we was in the stands. I said to the people next to me that I don't think Ramsey's going to get credit for what he done yesterday. And thankfully, I've seen on Twitter he has. But he absolutely changed that game. And I'd go as far to say without him coming on, we don't win that game. Because the runs he was making, he was pulling Tottenham players all over the place. I think as well, I don't know if you've seen the video, when Dyer scored and Ramsey was one of the people that jumped in, Dyer can be seen quite clearly singling out Ramsey and telling him to go back and sit down like get back on the bench. And I don't know if that added something to Ramsey's game, that a bit more determination, because he obviously he put it on Instagram after he went and told me to sit down. Like, that went well. But I thought Ramsey was incredible when he came on yesterday. So they've taken a throw onto Foyth, and again Ramsey pressing. Foyth led to a mistake. He's played. To be honest, he probably underhit the ball slightly to Lacazette. Lacazette's done well to get back inside, but as he's lined up to shoot, I'll be honest, I shouted no, like don't shoot, because
I didn't even see it coming. It blew me away. I didn't even expect it.
No, well, I see him. Obviously, he had a backlift to shoot. Obviously, it's on his left foot. He's outside the area. He's off balance, and I've shouted no, like, because obviously I've seen Ramsey and Aubameyang coming in. And I thought I wanted him to slide the ball to left, not have a shot, and then it's deflected in, and it's one of them for them. It's the most horrible type of deflection when the ball's going as slow as it can possibly go, but you know it's going out of reach. Obviously, for us, it's brilliant because they're the most agonising type of goals. But it's gone in. Fair play to Lacazette for taking the shot. To be honest, I still think he made the wrong decision, but I don't care because it went in.
It went in.
And to be honest, as I said, when I say players get it, he's up there with one of the players that does. And it's good to see someone like that score in a game because he cares at all times. So in a game where the fans are on that level as well, it's good to see him sort of let loose and go and have his big knee slide moment.
Mm-hmm. No, it was great. And there was I don't know if you've seen it, there was a photo with Lichtsteiner when they well, he come running down, didn't he, as well, to celebrate. And I thought, wow, that's like, and he's on the bench, like how awesome is this? Like they're all getting right into it. So.
Well, yeah, one of the things that pleased me is, I think it was with Aubameyang second, that Maitland-Niles was heavily involved in he didn't even get on the pitch, but he was heavily involved in the melee in the first half. He told Dele Alli to go suck his mum, which is always brilliant. Reminds me of being 14. But he was heavily involved in all the celebrations, and I think it was Aubameyang second where like it was just him and Aubameyang doing like a handshake or whatever. And I thought that's so good to see, I know Maitland-Niles isn't really that young anymore, but someone that hasn't really played much.
Yeah, he did too. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and arguably our superstar. And then Maitland-Niles was heavily involved for the celebration of the other 2 goals as well. So it was good. All the subs were involved. It was a real team performance, and fair play to them.
Yeah. Schwinn, I'll let you take it away with the Torreira goal, mate, and it was Aubameyang with the assist.
Lovely goal once again. The composure to finish that and the celebrations that ensued were brilliant. You could tell that Torreira really enjoyed that, and it showed on his face. And just before that, he had a volley attempt from outside the box, which I was convinced was flying into the top corner. And what a goal that would have been for his first in an Arsenal shirt. But he stepped up when the occasion rose, and that pretty much put the game to bed. And also an Aubameyang assist for that. For me, he had a brilliant game, and as Tony just spoke about, a team performance, and that shone through individual performances as well. Aubameyang worked very hard as well. The amount of times he was dropping deep to take the ball away from Tottenham players who were caught napping on the ball, and the constant runs he was making even late into the game. Guendouzi came on and was picking him out in the channels. I thought he earned that assist as well by finding Torreira. So yeah, just again, as Tony said, a very good team performance.
Yeah, it's very hard to disagree. He was he close shout from obviously man of the match. I stuck a poll up and he won it without a doubt. For me, it was Aubameyang though. 2 goals and assists every day takes a man of the match. Not Torreira was brilliant though. Tony, your man of the match?
Yeah, I went Aubameyang as well. To be honest, it was again. So after you put that poll up and I saw Torreira heavily leading it, and as I said, I personally thought it was Aubameyang. Sky Sports gave it to Torreira, but I looked on who scored, and again, anyone who listens knows it's a statistics-based model, not opinion-based. And Aubameyang got a 9.3. I don't think I've ever seen a score that high on who scored. As I said, I don't know how they work it out. I just know they base it on stats. But I've never seen a score that high for any player. I'm sure there has been, but I've never seen it. And Torreira was like a 7.5. There was a huge gap between Aubameyang and any. I think the next highest on the pitch was Torreira with 7.5 and Aubameyang 9.3. I'm not basing my decision on that, but I think Torreira was excellent. He had a very good game. And I think what helps is that moment. That was like a roof-raising moment when he scored. And obviously he scored it, so he's in the mind. I think if that game pans out exactly the same, but Ramsey scores that fourth goal, I don't think there's any debate that it's Aubameyang. But Torreira had the highlight moment. He had worked so hard. It was a great celebration. And obviously it was his first goal. So I can see why he got it, but for me, I think it should have been Aubameyang. Yeah. Put it this way, I think if Lacazette got 2 goals and an assist, I don't think we'd be having this conversation.
Yep. Agree. I don't know what it is there, but anyway, yeah. Schwinn, your man of the match?
Aubameyang. Absolutely agree with everything you guys said.
Mm-hmm. Boys, I'm just going to gloss over quickly because, a team performance like this, I think, we need to shout out a couple of players here, and I'd just like to get your, a few opinions. Tony, I'll get you on our back line, mate. Mustafi, Socrates, Holding.
Yeah, they were decent. I just, rather than go on individual systems like that, I think Emery was absolutely genius.
Well, he was going to come into me play later. I was going to talk about Emery. Yep, for sure.
Well, I mean, it kind of coincides with what you're asking about the defence, because we started with the back 3 or back 5, whatever you called it, and we looked the better team. So he kept that, but then introduced Ramsey and went 2 up top. And then you get the late runs to try and drag their midfield about. And the timing was so perfect that they had to match us because Ramsey was pulling them apart. The moment they matched us and went 5 at the back, we went to a 3 in midfield to dominate the ball in midfield, because now it was our 3 against their 2. And it literally, I think Mustafi, because Guendouzi was already getting stripped, so people are going, he was forced to make that change by the injury. I think the change would have happened regardless. And if it was luck, it was a huge slice of luck. The timing was perfect. As soon as Dyer slotted back in, we went with the extra man in midfield and dominated the game from that point. I was surprised Tottenham never changed back, especially because I think they still had all 3 subs at that point. But Emery played a game of chess with Pochettino, and he was 2 moves ahead at all times.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely brilliant. Our manager, fuck, mate. I'm going to really enjoy this next couple of seasons with Emery in charge, if this is the football we're going to be getting and the tactics and whatnot, because he was fucking outstanding yesterday. Schwinn, you can talk about the mids performances. Obviously, if you want to single out a couple of individuals, we've spoke about Torreira, Bellerin. We'll talk about our the captain, the legend, the myth, Granit Xhaka, and Kolasinac.
Yeah, captain, the legend, the myth. Yeah, wow. As I said, I thought Bellerin had his best game under Emery yesterday. You guys spoke about Torreira. He was absolutely everywhere. Granit kept us ticking over, made maybe one mistake late in the game. Can be easily, overlooked in a big game like this when you just make one mistake off the top of my head. And Kolasinac's best performance, period. I thought he was very good. Exactly what we expect from him in the left wing back, but very strong on the ball that we know he's capable of. Played some very good crosses early in the first half and continued with his tempo throughout the game. Even later in the game, he was dropping deep, helping his defenders out, which obviously we expect from him, but we know that's something he lacks in. But yesterday there was no trouble with his energy levels, and he used his physicality very well, tracked back very well, and I thought he was a bright spot in the team. There were times when Iwobi was dropping deep to collect the ball, and he played in behind a couple of times, and it was Kolasinac who was running forward and to make numbers with Aubameyang. So I thought he combined very well and read the game very well. So for me, he was a very, very bright surprise, one that I don't tend to expect from him otherwise.
Were you surprised? Are either of you surprised? They didn't attack down our right at all, so they didn't test him defensively. I agree with you. He had an excellent game, but I thought they would target him, and nothing came down that side for them.
No, I thought
really, especially with Aurier there as well. You'd think that they would use that side. That literally they done nothing. I was really, really shocked.
Mm-hmm. No,
I was too.
I thought Ericsson, Sissoko, I thought they'd be going down that side. They kept seeming to, with Son. So even Ali, he had a very quiet game, I thought.
Well, I think they played too narrow, and when you're playing a 4-3-1-2, and you have three attackers who are matched with our three defenders, I think it gave us very little to worry about, and that gave Hector Bellerin and Kolasinac all the time to move upfield. Sissoko had a horrible game, and I wonder if Sissoko was on the left and Ericsson was on the right, if that would have led to trouble, because then with Kolasinac upfield, Ericsson might have a bit more time on the ball. But credit to Bellerin there, because he recovered well and put a lot of pressure on Ericsson. Eric Dyer is a nothing player. He does absolutely nothing in the middle of the park, so there's nothing to worry about with him. And by the time they switched formation, we switched back, and we basically played the game they were trying to play from the beginning. So, as Tony said, Emery was playing a game of chess, and he was always 2 moves ahead.
Look, and I don't really give two fucks about the Spurs, but I have been hearing obviously some biased opinions from some Spurs fans today that the red card was unjustified. You guys want to have your thoughts on them 2 yellows?
For me, so the first one's handball. It's a yellow all day. The second one, I somewhat agree with them. It's either a straight red or nothing. For me, it's a straight red. But Dean wasn't going to give it. The linesman wasn't going to give it. Dean's giving it on the reaction, which is never a good thing in football. I know it's gone in our favour, but I hate when referees give things on reaction, because it's like they're kind of admitting they don't really know what's happened. But Vertonghen's clearly won the ball, and he's gone over the top. For me, that's not a yellow. The referee either thinks you've won the ball cleanly or you've gone over the top, which is a straight red. I said that at the time before I'd seen it. As soon as it happened, before I'd seen it back, I said the ref's got that wrong one way or the other. And then when I did see it back, I still think I'm right. I think it's a straight red.
Yeah, okay. I see your point there now. Look, I thought a yellow would stand justified the red, but I do see what you're saying. Like I said at the start, I don't really give a fuck. I don't think it changed. It didn't change the output of the game anyway.
No. I mean, we're two goals up in. I think it was the 84th minute. It's not had an effect on the game.
Nah, it's had zero effect on the game. Look, Son was really good. I've said that a few times for them. Okay, that's about it I've got, boys. On the game before we get into some questions, but I think I might have a question on it. I do with Manchester United. So, whether we go forward for this game. I'm just having a look. If you boys want to add anything on that game, or you all finish and dust, then we'll get into some questions.
Let's do some questions.
Okay. Because there was something about Manchester United, so I just was just trying to look for that. We'll come to it eventually. Okay, MAA Gunner, is yesterday's second half formation a way to get Ozil, Aubameyang, Lacazette in the same team, Tony?
Yeah, it's a way that could work, going 5-2-1-2, I guess. Which is obviously what we've done with Ramsey. So it's an option. I don't know if we're ever going to see it, but it does show that they can all get into the same team.
Okay. MAA Gunner, Schwinn, who do you play next to Torreira? Now, Granit is suspended. Mickey, Ramsey, possibly Ozil, maybe.
Well, if we continue with this formation, or even if you switch to a 4-2-3-1, I'd probably throw in Guendouzi in there. I don't know if...
I think Guendouzi will get the start, won't he?
Yeah, we know he's a favorite for Emery. And, again, Ramsey had a great game, but I don't know if, again, coming back to the cliche criticism, whether he has a discipline to stay in position, especially, if you get caught on the counter, which obviously is going to be United's plan. Mickey and Ozil, probably not. That's obviously not their position. My vote would be for Guendouzi, and I would expect Emery to start Guendouzi there.
Cosman Buddha, I've missed this kind of performance so bad. I finally feel the players are repaying us for rooting for them finally. We're all hearing you, buddy. Håkon Larsson, well then, what can we moan about? Got any?
Holding diving in, apparently.
Yeah, we'll moan about that. I'll moan about Leno. He should have saved that one. Give you something to moan about.
I'm going about Mustafi for going to ground as soon as humanly possible.
There you go. So we did manage to find a couple of moans. We are Arsenal fans after all. Vish, I have slated Bellerin for lacking fight and fire to defend with your life, but yesterday, wow, I must applaud him and his brilliant display. Torreira empathises desire and fighting for the badge on the shirt. What were the emotions and atmosphere like within the ground, Tony?
Yeah, it's always a heightened sense when you're going to Tottenham. We're all in the pub before, which is the busiest it's been all season, and it's just a lot of nervous energy and a lot of nonsense noise, really. I think you're just trying to get nervous energy out, so you say the first thing that comes into your mind all the time. It's always on an edge, and it's always threatens to boil over, and that's how Derby should be. I mean, I had after the game Tottenham fans, but neutral fans as well, texting me just saying it was a proper game of football. It was kind of what you want football to be like. There was penalties, there was some not great tackles, there was incidents all over the pitch. The fans were involved. It's a great atmosphere to be in. The Derby is always, for fans, I think it's the worst game of the season until it's over or until you're 2 goals up with 10 minutes to go, because you're just so nervous the whole time. You really don't want to lose that game, but that lends itself to a good atmosphere because you feel like you want to try and impact the result more. Going back, obviously, you mentioned Granit. I thought Granit was very, very good yesterday, and I know you just asked Schwinn the question, but I think he's a huge miss on Wednesday. It will be Guendouzi. I'd be amazed if it wasn't. But I don't as much. Look, I think Guendouzi. Schwinn's been banging this drum for ages, but the last few weeks, I think Guendouzi is going to be an unreal player. Like I don't want to say like his level of not game management, but his level of just understanding the game and doing the right thing for a 19-year-old is insane. But I don't think his style will lend itself to the Man United game on Wednesday. But it's going to be him because no one else can play there. No, but yeah, I thought Granit was excellent yesterday. He put the chance you mentioned earlier where Iwobi missed. If we scored that, people are talking about Granit Xhaka because we had the free kick off Bailey. Yeah, and it was just no one sort of saw it. Like it wasn't like everyone was going, you got to play that switch. It was just like he didn't really have a run up. It was like he just saw it and done it. It was like instinctive. And as I said, I think he had a brilliant game. He deserved to get booked, in all honesty. And it was annoying knowing that a booking would keep him out of United. It was a silly tackle. Not a silly, it was an unneeded tackle. And it probably was a booking, but I think he's a huge miss on Wednesday.
I agree. Yeah, look, I didn't want to talk about the yellow. I didn't want to talk about him missing next week. So, I hope Manchester United, look, they are in a bit of a fucking shit fight at the moment themselves. But I do worry, and as you know, I am a Granit fan, but I do worry when Granit is missing. Arsenal seems to be missing a little bit, so that does worry me. So, but hopefully Guendouzi can step up the plate. It won't be El Nani.
No, I said it will be going to. But another thing that I think's gone unnoticed is Granit, regardless of how he performs on the pitch, because he's had some games where he's been bad. He's a very good captain. He's the type of captain that people have been calling out for ages, and I've always said the role of a captain is pretty much gone. But the type of captain that everyone's always said they want, and we're missing that kind of, that will tell people what to do, that will G people up, that will get people going. Granit does that. I think in terms of the old school captain that people want, as I said, I don't particularly care about it. I think he's a very good captain.
Mm-hmm. Well, you've only got to look at his past record. I think everywhere he's gone, he's been the captain, so he's obviously a born leader.
Yeah, it's a weird one because you shouldn't need an armband to make you do that. Like John Terry was a captain whether he had an armband on or not. And Granit's weird because he wasn't. When he was never a leader. But
there's probably a respect though, like when you've coming into the Arsenal and you know you're this young midfielder who they splashed out 30-odd million for, and he's probably thinking, oh, it's really not my place. When now he's been there a couple of seasons, it is his place.
I don't know. I think it's one of them things that you tend to have it or not. As I said, look, I'm using John Terry as examples. He's probably the best captain in the last 10 years for any team. He was a captain at 17 or 8. Do you know what I mean? He was. Yeah. It's usually like, I have no doubt that Guendouzi will be, whether it's at Arsenal or not, which I assume it will be. Guendouzi will be a captain of a club or a country at some point. You can just see he's got that leadership in him. Even now he'll moan at players and he'll take the flack as well. Granit was never like that. And as I said, since he's had the armband, he's excelled for me as a captain. But he never was without it. And as I said, usually it's just you have it or you don't. You usually can't switch that on or off because it's natural. But apparently Granit can.
He's a legend. I see, fella. I get no response from you cunts anymore, do I? That RC fella, he's saying Son did take a dive, and no doubt in his mind. However, the situation wouldn't have happened if Holding hadn't gone to ground. Too much Mustafi influence there, I'm afraid.
Wrong.
I've got to think about that. Mustafi, he wasn't there.
No, he means Mustafi diving in.
Oh, okay, okay, yeah.
But as I said, it's easy with hindsight. As I said, had Son shot and it gone in, people go, why hasn't Holding made an effort to block it? Because Son's chopped in, had Holding stood up, Son would have ran into him and probably still got a fucking penalty anyway.
Look, I get it after watching it a couple of times in the highlights. But at first I'm thinking, I don't like my players going to ground in the box. Because, like I said,
you just got to say, okay, never block a shot ever again.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I know. So you can't have your cake and eat it too. So you've got to block the shot and take the punt and the 50-50 chance that you're going to get a penalty, or you just don't fucking do it.
It's like what I said earlier. Had Holding tried to make the tackle, I would completely agree with everyone. The fact that he's not tried to make the tackle, he's not gone direct towards Son. He's gone to block the line between Son and the goal.
Yeah,
so you can see he's trying to make
he didn't go for the ball.
Yeah, he didn't go for the man, didn't go for the ball. So it makes it different. As I said, had Holding tried to make the tackle, I would completely agree with everyone.
Look, and like I said, I've probably only just more changed my opinion on it the last 20 minutes after watching the highlights again. So have another look and let us know. That RC fella, he also goes, so much love about Aubameyang's second goal. The finish was spectacular, but let's take a moment to make note of the delicious ball from Bellerin. It was Ozil, Esquin, whatever. Was brilliant ball by Bellerin.
Yeah, I mean, Schwinn touched on it earlier. It was unbelievable. Great ball, great flick, great run and flick by Ramsey as well. But Ramsey's made the run, and it's a brilliant run. But for Hector to put the ball there, it's not an easy ball to play, and he's played it. He's weighted it perfectly. Great flick from
Ramsey.
From Ramsey, and it's as Schwinn said earlier, it's a sensational finish. It's good because all we've heard, not even all week, all season, and even from Arsenal fans, all we've heard is, Aubameyang only scores tap-ins and scores against small clubs. So, I mean, now at least he's proved he doesn't only score tap-ins. He's still got to score against a big club, so hopefully he can do that on Wednesday. But at least it's dispelled one myth from... And as I said, this is where a lot of Arsenal fans annoy me, because the press start a rumour to piss people off. And they don't only do it to Arsenal, they do it to everyone. But Arsenal fans seem to just jump on board with the press. Like, how could we have the top scorer in the league who's played out of position for probably 70% of games, and you've got Arsenal fans criticising him for the way he scores? Like, come on. So when you say it like that, it sounds ridiculous. You think Arsenal would never do that.
Yeah.
Millennials.
Yeah, well, you're one of them. So.
But Lacazette, he can do no wrong, boys.
He doesn't score tackles.
I don't want to criticise Lacazette, because I do like Lacazette, but we put a poll out, Aubameyang or Lacazette, and I haven't got the numbers in front of me, but Lacazette won it by a country mile, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I think I put the same poll out on Facebook as well, and I'm pretty sure Lacazette did win that one as well. So, but there was a bit closer than the Twitter one. So he's loved by many.
Again, I don't know, but we don't have to pitch the two against each other. But that's what I think. This started with Jack and Ramsey, where people decided for some reason they had to make them against each other. I'm not really sure why. And then we've just carried on since then. It's always been Ozil or someone, or like now it's Lacazette or Aubameyang. And they showed yesterday, and they've showed all season. Yes, Aubameyang's been playing on the left, which is ideally not where you want him, but he's still scoring goals. So it showed that it doesn't have to be either or. They've clearly got a good working relationship between the two of them anyway. So it's not like they can't play together. I don't know why Arsenal fans are so intent on choosing between them and making it a thing. As I said, like, even if you're going to choose it between them, because it's natural, I will always say I prefer Aubameyang. But I'm not. That doesn't make me discredit Lacazette. Like when people are going, "Oh yeah, Aubameyang scored 8, but there were 7 tap-ins." So fucking what? Someone's got to score him.
You like Lacazette. You like Lacazette for the way he plays, and you know he's the link-up play. But you like Aubameyang for his goal
scoring. Yeah, look, as I mean, I can appreciate parts of both of their games. Whereas it seems a lot of Arsenal fans, and even after the game yesterday, still saw people going, "Oh yeah, Lacazette would have done better than Aubameyang did." And I thought, come on, like, just people are so keen to like not create a rift, but to prove their point that they discredit anything anyone does if it's not their guy. And I know Wenger recently done an interview, and he said we're leading towards a stage of there's fans of players, not of clubs, and they follow that player. So Juventus gained 2 million fans the day they signed Cristiano Ronaldo or whatever.
Yeah, it is.
We're seeing that a lot, and I know people. Wenger, I mean, I think he first said it years ago, and people thought he was stupid, but it's just proving himself right again. We're just getting people that they're defending their player, not really looking at what's happening for the club.
What happens in Formula One? I've jumped off Red Bull straight to Renault.
Yeah, I think it's a bit different. I mean, I know it's teams, but it's an individual sport. You're out there on your own. I'm not the biggest F1 fan, as you know, so I'm maybe talking absolute shit. But in general, from what I know, like from what I see here, and I did used to watch it a bit when I was younger, is obviously the driver's out there on his own. You like the driver, not the team in general.
Whereas
football is obviously completely different.
I don't know many who go for him, but I know a lot of Ronaldo fanboys, and probably Messi would be in the same category, but that'd probably be the only two players in them categories.
I don't know.
I don't know if anybody would go, I'm a Hector Bellerin fan, I'll now go for Real Madrid. You know?
No, but not that. But I'm sure there's definitely Neymar fans out there. I'm almost certain Neymar, there's Ozil fans out there. I think there's a lot of Ozil fans that weren't full Real Madrid fans, probably aren't full Arsenal fans, but they're Arsenal fans now because Ozil's there. And you see it when Ozil, whether he's injured or gets dropped, it's suddenly like, oh, everyone's an idiot, they don't know what they're doing because Ozil's not playing. I don't know if this, and Schwinn's probably better placed than me or you to answer this. Does this happen a lot in American sports? Say when, like if Kobe Bryant moves teams or Steph Curry, I don't think he ever has, but if he moves teams, do a lot of fans move with them, or obviously the same in NFL, or does it not happen in American sports?
I think it's a direct juxtaposition of just the way it is in football. It's a concept with the newer generation. And because football is obviously more popular and it's got a lot more teams by proportion of a few more superstars, it happens a bit more in football. But I think it's something that we're seeing across different sports, obviously team sports. And over time, it will become a millennial concept where people are following individuals as opposed to teams.
I'll just jump in quickly there just to answer the actual question. No, Tony, it does happen. Because you only got to have a look at LeBron James, NBA. How many fans have now jumped on to and followed him from the Cavs? So, it happened with Michael Jordan. They followed Michael Jordan all the way to baseball. So it has been happening, but it's more them superstar players. Like I say, your Neymar, Messi, Ronaldo, probably LeBron James, Jordan it happened to. So it's more them superstar players. But there will be more players that people will like more so than others. So. I've got a one. I was just thinking though when we're talking Schwinn next week. So, and I don't know if Ozil's going to be back or not. Now we've just beat the Spurs 4-2. Granite's going to be out, so we imagine Guendouzi's going to go in there. Ramsey was unbelievable when he come off the bench. Is there a place for Ozil next week?
I don't know. I don't know how fit he will be. I don't know even if he's fit, whether he's going to be played. And I'm okay with that. Look, obviously
I mean on form, like on form. Okay, if he's 100% fit, do you go? Okay, I put him in after that team performance against the Spurs.
Well, that's what I'm trying to get at. There's so many other factors involved in the equation that it depends on the system. It depends on what sort of tactics we are going to employ on the day. I think it's safe to assume that United are going to sit back and try to hit us on the counter. Now, when you have deep defenses, then you might need someone who can provide that killer ball. And we know Mesut Ozil is very good at that. So, there's a place for him in the team, in the particular system. But are we going to play that system? I'm not sure. I'm happy that there's this uncertainty about how Emery's going to play, because that means that exists for the other team as well. They don't know how we're going to shape up, which is great. And despite being a massive Mesut Ozil fan, if on the day it is deemed by our manager that we don't need him, I'm completely fine with that. So I hope there's no rift between the two. There has been some sort of rumors about it in the build-up to this game as well, that he found out that he's not going to be playing on Sunday, and that's why he didn't attend training on Friday. Do I believe that? I don't know at this point. I really don't. I want to go with the back spasm theory because that gives me less things to worry about, especially after the result yesterday. But I'm completely behind this manager, and if he deems Mesut Ozil is not needed for the game for one reason or the other, I'm completely fine with that, even if we drop the points, because things are going well right now, and at the end of the day, we support the club and not an individual player, coming back to our earlier discussion. So I'm absolutely fine with that.
What about you, Tony?
No, I think it all depends on systems and how you want to play. If I've never gone with the narrative that Ozil's lazy, but if you do want a team that's going to run a lot and run in certain ways, then you're going to pick a Ramsey over him. You're looking at if we play like we did yesterday with the two attackers, you're looking at, for the two spots, obviously it was Iwobi and Mickey yesterday, and you're looking at two other options in Ozil and Ramsey that could potentially play there. So there's certain games, if you think you're going to control the ball, you have to play Ozil. If you want someone who runs more, probably sticks a bit wider, you go with the two you did yesterday. If you want someone to make late runs into the box and score and maybe not get involved in the build-up too much, you go with Ramsey. So I think it all depends on not just the formation, but the way you want to play. Yesterday, obviously, when we went one behind the two, so it was Ramsey behind Aubameyang and Lacazette, everyone would say, in an ideal world, that's Ozil's best position, and I would agree. But in the way he wanted them to play yesterday, Ramsey was perfect because Aubameyang and Lacazette split a bit wider than normal, and Ramsey ran through the middle. Ozil, for all his quality with the ball, is never going to make that run through the middle. So it's not even just about formations and positions, it's about the roles within that position. There's many different ways to play in the same position. So it all depends on what we want, in what he wants. I think, of course, there's still a place for him, but in certain games, when you're going to play a certain way, there is players better suited to doing that job.
Mm-hmm. Oh, look, I'm not by all means picking on Ozil or anything here. I just, after that performance, I think, oh shit, I wonder whether the managers, you're thinking, well, fuck, we just beat, Tottenham 4-2. Do I continue this, obviously, apart from Granite, who I think, and there's a question here in a minute, which from Shree, he asks who replaces Granite, Ramsey or Guendouzi. Well, we've all pretty much said Guendouzi. So I just wondered, does the manager go, And it's, I suppose it's a different game, so you're probably right. But yeah,
Yeah, it depends on the style we want to play. And look, I think under Wenger, I don't want to say loyal because it makes it sound like I'm saying Emery's not, but Wenger would stick to the players that have played well and not respect the game that's coming up. That it may be different or it will be different.
Yep.
Whereas Emery's seen so far he doesn't care what's happened before. He plays the game that's in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
And the game that's in front of him is United. So if he expects United to sit off and us to have a lot of the ball, then it's probably a bit pointless having Ramsey in there. Mm-hmm. If he thinks, we're going to have loads of the ball 30, 40 yards out, then there's no point having a late runner when the ball's 40 yards out. Mm-hmm. So, as I said, it all just completely depends on what type of game Emery is expecting and also what type of game he wants us to play. As I said, if you're trying to control the ball and have 70% possession and you think you're just going to wear them out by having so much of the ball that they'll eventually make a mistake, there is no one better than Ozil because he's very rarely going to give the ball away and he's going to find threatening attacking passes as well. So if that's the type of game you want, you play Ozil. If you want, as I said earlier, it all depends on what he wants.
Yeah, okay. Jake says, do we really think Mike Dean is a Spurs fan or is it a myth? I'd like to hear your opinions. Schwinn?
Wow. I want to say he's a Spurs fan because we've seen that, in the past. I mean, if you discount the last 2-3 games we played against the Scum, clearly he's a Spurs fan. But I think it's obviously, if you look at it objectively, he's obviously not a Spurs fan. But let's go with the fact that he is a Spurs fan because that makes his victory all that sweeter.
Tony?
He's just a horrendous referee. I don't really care who he supports. He makes the game all about him. You knew the moment we got a penalty they were going to get one back. He does. It's a weird, he likes to be mates with the players. And Arsenal, where he fell out with Wenger so often, Arsenal players hadn't ever subscribed to that. And Tottenham do. So, and it's not, I don't know if it makes him favour them, but you see him walking off the pitch yesterday, talking to Son and having a little chat with him. Does that, as a human, that's surely going to sway your mind when you've got to give a decision. Oh, yeah, he's a nice bloke. He wouldn't dive. It must have been a foul. But I don't know if he's a Tottenham fan. I don't think he's realistically a Tottenham fan, but he's just a horrible, horrible referee.
And I reckon he's one of the best, though.
Honestly, he's so bad. He's not. When you say refs aren't consistent, you usually mean across games. They make. He's not consistent from one 10-minute period to the next. He'll have 1 minute, 10-minute period where he slows the game up as much as possible, and he kills every bit of momentum in the game. It takes ages to do everything, and then the next 10 minutes he lets everything go, plays advantage at all times, and you just think, how are you meant to play in a game where you have no idea what kind of tempo the refs dictating the tempo? One of the hardest things it's usually centre midfielders is to dictate the tempo, and it's probably one of the reasons Fabregas has been so highly rated throughout the years because he's excellent at dictating the tempo. But what chance have you got when you're taking that away from an absolute elite player to a bloke with a whistle?
Out of a 10, what performance do you give him for yesterday?
I don't think he was as awful as usual yesterday, but I said just messing up the tempo, 5 or 6.
Mm-hmm. I don't think he's a Spurs fan. I think he's just a pain in the fucking ass. I think.
Any time a referee's trying to make the game about them, you're in for a hard day's work.
Who's that? The fucking name fucks me at the moment now. The bald-headed bloke.
Mike Dean.
No. Mate's made a big name for himself.
Colina.
Yeah. That's what I think Mike Dean's trying to become. He's obviously. It's all about him.
It's look, I know Clattenburg quit last year, but he was seen as the best ref in the league. I don't think he was, but he was another one. He got the final of the Champions League and the Euros in the same year, and he became a celebrity ref. I think he got tattoos on either arm, one of the European Cup and one of the Champions League, because he'd reffed the finals. And come on.
But wasn't there? And isn't he like a millionaire or something as well? He doesn't even need to. Didn't even know.
Who, Clattenburg?
Yeah.
He probably is now because he left his job as a Premier League referee to go and work as a referee's boss in, I think, Saudi Arabia or Dubai or the United Arab Emirates, somewhere where they're paying money and that he does all the broadcasting. Interestingly, Clattenburg said that it wasn't a penalty and that Tottenham's goal was offside yesterday. But I mean, I'd imagine when you're going to work out in the Far East, you tend to get paid really well for it. So I'd imagine he is now. I don't know if he was wealthy beforehand.
Mm-hmm. No, I was thinking of Colina.
Oh, I mean, again,
yeah.
I don't know if he was beforehand, but I mean, like, he was on the front cover of Pro Evolution. Like, he became a celebrity referee, but he was a good referee.
Yeah.
So he made a lot of money from endorsements. Like, you see him on adverts and stuff. But he got there by being a good referee and then became a celebrity because he was known as the best of the best. Whereas the guys now, especially in England, they seem to be trying to become a celebrity by just, you know what I mean? Dean makes the game about him, which then he feels will make him a celebrity. Whereas Colleen had done it the other way, the natural way.
He was a good ref, which
be an amazing ref. Get the Champions League final every year and get all the big games because you're the best by far. And that will get you respected. Whereas I think a lot of refs now are trying to do it the other way around.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's just go with @DPR416. I may need to move my neighbours probably. Hate me from all the screaming at the ref in the first half, then screaming with joy in the second half. It was worth it. Shree says, best Kolasinac performance of his Arsenal career. Agree?
Yeah.
Kurnos, how nice is it to have a thinking manager, one that looks at the opposition and makes changes accordingly? Mickey's dead weight once again. Thoughts on giving Ramsey the contract and offloading him? We get so much more output from the Welshman, top of the assist charts. Let you have that one, Schwinn.
Yeah, there's a few questions on reconsidering this Ramsey contract, and perhaps Mickey's the victim of this situation. And look, I don't think there's a lot of debate around who's the better player, especially if you look at the depth we have in the places like Ozil likes to play. Iwobi's there. Mkhitaryan obviously likes to play centrally in that hole, and Ramsey of course doesn't particularly play that high up. He's someone who likes to play further deep in central midfield. Look, ideally, yes. Obviously we would prefer Ramsey. He's been at the club longer. He knows the league better. And we've seen under Emery, he's a very dynamic player who can do a job in different situations. But I don't know if that's a realistic possibility. It's going to be very hard to shed off Mkhitaryan on his current form. We may be able to, but it's not going to fetch the price tag we would want. And B, I don't know if I agree with Tony that he said a few weeks ago that the door's not closed. It's still a possibility that we go back into negotiations with Ramsey and his agent, because I truly do believe that Ramsey wants to stay. I don't think he necessarily wants to leave. He wouldn't say no to the idea of joining a Bayern Munich, who are getting him on a free and he gets a big bump. But at the same time, I'm sure he'd be happy to stay, especially seeing the things, the way that things are going. But I think it's too utopian of an idea that we use the funds that we save from Mkhitaryan's wages and invest those in Ramsey's. I don't think that's a realistic way to do it. And there's other ways we can afford to or make some sort of exchanges here or there. But I don't think this is the way to go about it, because I don't think it's realistic.
Look, he's been brilliant off the bench, but what do you pay, a player to come off each week to come off the bench and do what he's doing? Like, I don't want a Fernando Torres situation where we're paying an absolute fortune for a player to sit on the bench. So what's a player worth on the bench? And Tony, you may be best to answer this as well.
I don't think you can put a number on it. It's impossible to say. It's always going to be hard to have a first-team player earning less than someone that doesn't play all the time. If you give Ramsey 200 grand a week, just to put a number out there, and Granit and Torreira are starting ahead of him every week, then, and Iwobi to an extent, maybe they're going to start asking questions. Maybe not. Look, you can't really answer this question. I think as much as I don't think it will happen, I think the idea of offloading Mickey's wages and adding them onto Ramsey isn't a horrendous idea. I think there's no chance he's going to be at the club in 18 months' time, where if Ramsey got a contract, he still would be. But the difficulty is Arsenal won't stomach both wages while they have to. So at absolute best, you wouldn't be able to give Ramsey the contract till the 1st of July when he'd already be out of contract. And by that time, he's probably spoken to other clubs. Mm-hmm. It is a bit of a mess, but it's a mess of our own doing.
Or previous, really, isn't it? Like, yeah,
well, it's still, it's a mess of Arsenal's doing, regardless.
Yeah, they're stuck with it now. Fucking, what did we say last week? 20 for Mickey. Oh, geez, the way it's going each week, it'd be bloody 5 mil. Fucking on any, you'll get more than.
I want to step in to slightly defend him here. He wasn't bad yesterday by any stretch of the imagination. Look, I don't like him. Listen, that's clear. But I've seen quite a bit yesterday just because he was one of the ones that hooked off. Mickey flopped again. He wasn't bad.
Mm-hmm. And we haven't touched on it, and I'm not going to really go on it, but the midweek game, how was he there?
He didn't play.
Oh, he was on the bench, wasn't he? That's right.
Yeah, he travelled to Kiev,
right.
up a bit in minus 30.
Yeah, did nothing. That's right. Okay.
He just again, he's also a very marketable player, and we know that this is the time we live in, right? So if you look at a Turkish club, for example, just to pick one out of thin air, he can help sell a lot of jerseys. He is one who would feature on posters and promotional materials. So, he's not enjoying a lot of form at the moment, but he is one who will lift a team. At least from a commercial standpoint. So that's again a plus point when you're trying to decide the value of a player when it comes to the transfer fee.
I mean, no doubt the Chinese Super League would pick him up anyway. I don't think there'd be any problem getting rid of him, but it's just a bit of a mess, isn't it?
And his wages.
Yeah, and also Schwinn is right. A lot of Arsenal's promotional material, especially on the kit launches, was Ozil, Aubameyang, and Mkhitaryan. And on first view, Mkhitaryan seems like a bit of an odd one out. The markability of Ozil and Aubameyang is clear. You don't need to be a genius for that. But the Arsenal aren't stupid, and they've done it for a reason. So Mkhitaryan must be marketable. I wasn't aware of it. Schwinn's just said it, and again, I don't know where he's got it from. But Arsenal aren't stupid, and so he must be. There must be a reason for it. So again, that is a factor.
Yeah, if you were going for looks, you'd have Granit Xhaka there. So I don't know. I don't get it.
Ramsey.
See fella. No, let's go to Clay for a minute. Clay, is it just me, or did Aubameyang seem to spend a lot more time on the ball this game too? Probably a result of him being played centrally. Will all you be putting into the pundits at Sky Sport now? If so, I hope you still continue the pod. Ecstatic for the win, fellas. Yeah, okay, there you go.
I mean, it's right. He ran the channels very well. I mean, even his penalty, it's won by him running the channel and getting fouled, and we get a free kick and score from that. And then the only goal he didn't have a part in was obviously Lacazette's. But again, he made a very good run off the ball to be an option when Lacazette shot. I think, as I said, I think a lot of this has come down to people reading that he only scores tap-ins and doesn't do much, and somewhat believe in it because you see other Arsenal fans tweet it, and do you know what I mean? It puts a doubt in your mind.
Mm-hmm. Me and you were talking the other week when we put that poll out. I think that was Schwinn was MIA, but and we both said, obviously Aubameyang up front, and I was trying to work out to you, how can we fit a Lacazette in the team? I don't want him coming in from the wings. Do we tuck him in as a false nine, or it's a good thing to have, but it'd be great to get them both on the pitch as well, because as we said, Lacazette offers that link-up play, and Aubameyang runs them channels well.
Yeah, I think the only way it can happen is if we play how we did in the second half yesterday. Not necessarily with Ramsey running off the ball. It could be anyone in 10. It could be Mickey Ozil or Iwobi. But I think you have to go with 5 at the back if you're going to play them 2 up front. And the issue we have with 5 at the back is we've only really got 3 centre-backs. So all 3 of them have to play. And if anyone gets injured, you're in trouble.
You're in the shit.
Because you have to change the whole shape.
Yeah, it's not a good, eh? Not good. That RC fella, just want to express my sheer delight with this match and result. Fuck, it feels great to be a Gooner today. Love the podcast, gents. Thanks, mate. That RC fella, I'm afraid that Ramsey's contract saga is going to pop up every time he has a good performance. Yes, absolutely it will. So should we outlay the money to retain Rambo, invest in Rambo type replacement, or invest in a winger come the next transfer window? Also, how realistic are any of these options? Ashwin?
I think the most efficient and the correct way to go about this is to keep Rambo. I don't think it makes sense to invest in a replacement. I think we spoke about this a couple of weeks ago, that at what he does, Ramsey is probably one of the best midfielders in the world. And to let him go on a free and then to spend a shit ton of money on someone like Ramsey is not going to be easy. We're looking at least plus 60, 70 million for that sort of work rate, that sort of scoring output. And then they may not work the way Ramsey does. So I don't think it makes sense to go for a direct replacement. I think the reason we're letting him go is Emery thinks we don't need a direct replacement. And if we want to keep someone like Ramsey in the team, we keep Ramsey. I don't think it makes sense to invest elsewhere in a different player. I mean,
well, he says, invest in a winger come the transfer window. So I think he's thinking he said originally, invest in a Rambo type replacement. We all probably disagree that that's not going to happen. But thoughts on a winger? If Rambo goes,
I think that would be the obvious move. We've spoken about someone who can play on the right and someone who can bring natural width to the team. If we play a back 3, then our wing backs are able to do that for us. But I don't know if Emery is wedded to that idea that we're going to play a back 3 week in, week out. So it would be nice, and I think the most obvious move to make, to bring in a winger.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Heck on Larson, almost lost for words. That was just unbelievable and so good performance for the whole squad. Emery's plan worked perfectly. Clay says, just a beauty. Iwobi, Rambo, Lucas, Aubameyang, GX, Socrates all had good games. I didn't think Mickey was as bad this go round either. Who has experienced more improvement this season, Mustafi or Iwobi? Or also does Unai deserve consideration for manager of the season? Interesting. Okay, Tony, Mustafi or Iwobi?
Iwobi, because I don't really think he's had a bad game this season. Mustafi is still capable. Mustafi was always capable. He just had way too many dickhead moments, and he still has dickhead moments.
He always does.
Yeah, so Mustafi was never he was always a decent player, just, as I said, capable of being an idiot. Whereas Iwobi looked, especially last year, he looked like he didn't know what he was doing. So even if he had 5 good games this season, which he's already exceeded, that would have been way ahead of last year. So I think you've got to say Iwobi. Also, I think you're looking way too premature to be looking at manager of the season.
I agree with you, Iwobi, because I'm just thinking he got dropped for a couple of World Cup games too.
Yeah, he started the first and then wasn't involved in the next 2, or he didn't start.
Yeah, so you're trying to get through them group stages. They were in a fucking tough group by memory with Argentina and a couple others. But yeah, he's obviously, if he had this form back in the World Cup, I'd imagine he probably would have started for his country. So in every one of them games. So for me, it is absolutely Iwobi. Emery, look, it's way too early. Way too early. Manager of the season. Schwinn, Mustafi or Iwobi?
Maybe it's not as clear for me as it is for you guys. I completely agree with what you guys said, but I mean, the amount of times we bashed Mustafi, over the last season particularly. And yeah, he played a bit more than Iwobi, so obviously he was in the limelight a bit more. But I really think he's improved. He's still got that sort of Mustafi brain fart in him, and he doesn't shy away from that pretty much every game. But I'm much more comfortable watching him now. He played a bit of a nervy pass yesterday back to Leno, but I think that shows trust in the goalkeeper. And I was very impressed with him yesterday as well. Again, against Liverpool, I thought he was better than Rob Holding, who got a lot of praise that day. So just for the sake of a different answer, I'll say Mustafi.
Oh, I'll just add to that. Like he's put Mustafi in Iwobi. I'll give a shout out for Bellerin and Granit Xhaka as well. I think Emery has got them two boys going really well at the moment.
How did I not mention Granit Xhaka?
Well, look, remember this time last season? How much fucking hate was I getting on me fucking Twitter?
No, I don't disagree with you at all. But it was just as soon as you read the question, I thought, how long until Ted says Xhaka?
Fair enough. Sultan, Spurs are shit. Yep. Jonas, what a game.
Is that all?
That's all he said. He just wanted to say
what a legend.
Spurs are shit. That's all he wanted to say. I love that. Jonas 82, what a game to be in at the stadium. Absolutely buzzing. Jonas, obviously, he goes to the stadiums as well, to the games. Jay
was in Belgium, so he might have made the trip just for the game.
Oh, maybe. Okay.
But good on him.
Actually, no, I did see a tweet that he said he's been about 100 times or something. I think I did read something last night, so I think he's a regular.
Fair enough.
JKB, it is possible to sell Ozil in January. Oh, fuck, here we go, Schwinn. This is one for you, buddy. Is it possible to sell Ozil in January and revisit contract talks with Ramsey, or is that just impossible and was stuck with the Merzel shit contract and Rambo's departure? I think was seeing what each player means to results. Obviously not.
Well, he sort of bailed me out with, is it possible? Because no, it's not possible. No one's going to pay those Mesut of wages, as he sort of alluded to. It's that contract is something we've dug ourselves into, for better or worse, and no one's going to take him up on that extravagant package. So why would he leave?
Mm-hmm. Fuck you, JKB. I'll G you up next time to do a better tweet. Torreira, greatest footballer in the world right now or all time? OG says that. Actually, I thought there was a question here for it. And I know it's probably very early, boys, but he's been absolutely fucking brilliant. And is he worth a shout as the player of the season?
That type of player is never going to win player of the season. It's just never going to happen. If you're looking at, I know Kante got it at Leicester. It's completely different. If you're actually Mahrez got it anyway. Signing of the season thus far, probably. So at the end of the season, you could be looking at that.
Yeah.
But there's just literally no chance he'll get player of the season.
Yeah, okay. For me, he's been the sign on the season as of now. But
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Thus far, he's signed of the season. That will be reassessed in May or whenever the awards are handed out.
Yeah, okay. James Hearn says, what do you guys think about the contrast intensity starting games between the Liverpool and Tottenham game and all the rest? Do you think the explicit goal of the top four rather than challenge for the title would impact? Tony?
I think it's different. I know, look, as a fan, I was in the pub. I go to the pub too much. I was in the pub before the Liverpool game, and they haven't really this season, but in general, Liverpool are known to be really fast starters. So we were just saying that for the first 20 minutes, just stay in the game, keep the ball. Like, you don't want to go out very fast against Liverpool and get hit on the break and be 1-0 down after 5 minutes. It's probably the worst thing that you could do, especially with their defence this season only barely conceding. Whereas Tottenham aren't quite like that, especially in a derby. I think you're better to start fast. So I think they probably managed both games correctly. In that Liverpool, you don't really want to give them a sniff. In an ideal world, you play 20 minutes against Liverpool and absolutely nothing's happened. That's a very good start against Liverpool. Well, generally, as I said, this year's a bit different. Whereas Tottenham and the derby is never like that. So I think they probably got both pretty right.
Okay. OG lineups for Manchester against Man U. Schwinn?
Ooh, tough one. Well, we don't know the extent of Mustafi's injury, do we?
Nope.
So I mean, look, I think we'll go back to a back four. I have a feeling that I don't think Mustafi will be back for one, and I think we'll need a bit more firepower because of the way United are going to set up. So
Lichtsteiner takes over Mustafi, or Bellerin drops back?
Bellerin drops back from the wing-back position. Kolasinac drops back from the wing-back position as well. Socrates and Holding, Leno in goal, Guendouzi, Torreira in midfield, Ozil, Mkhitaryan, Iwobi, and Aubameyang.
Okay. Tony?
I agree. I think we go back to a back four, but only because United will almost certain to play a three in midfield, and you don't really want to be outnumbered, especially on a big pitch. So I think we don't have the Mustafi situation, so you've got to go Holding and Socrates. The fullbacks pick themselves. I think it'd be Torreira, Guendouzi. Again, you don't know with Ozil. I don't know if he'll try and get Aubameyang and Lacazette together or like both in the team. I mean, if he expects them to sit behind the ball. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Aubameyang left, Lacazette up top, Iwobi on the right, and then the 10, either Ozil or Ramsey. Because again, if they're going to sit behind the ball, you either want someone that's going to create chances or someone that's going to join in the attacks in the box and finish them off.
Okay.
There's a lot of ifs and buts because there's two major injuries. Not major injuries, but two major players in Mustafi and Ozil that you don't know if they're even going to travel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. It's got me fucked because Emery could. I don't know. Ramsey, Ozil. Obviously, Guendouzi.
Oh, even the formation. We're guessing on the formation. Yeah. For me, and I said this last season, that as a problem, for me, this is a brilliant thing because we ain't got a clue. No, so what chance has anyone else?
Yeah. I like this headache because it's not the same every week, but I don't know. I wouldn't know the formation. I wouldn't know the team. One thing though, I would do, Schwinn, and I like where Bellerin's playing at the moment. I think him there, he's playing really, really well. So I'd like to keep him there. This is obviously if we similar formation that we played this time, but I would nearly put Lichtsteiner in as opposed to Bellerin.
I could see that. Well, you mean Lichtsteiner at centre back or at right wing back?
At centre back, I'd put Lichtsteiner and I'd have Bellerin at right wing back.
Yeah, look, I could see that. I could see us starting with the team that ended the game, except Guendouzi comes in for what you call Granit, and Mustafi, if available, plays, or Lichtsteiner comes in. I could see us doing that. Aubameyang up top, Lacazette, and Ramsey in the hole. But you don't want to break up the flow and momentum of a team that played very well together. I understand that, but I wonder if that could potentially cost us because we know United is going to sit deep. We may not enjoy a lot of space in behind, and I don't know if any of those players are capable of playing that killer pass that's going to split up a defense. So again, it's opinion. It's a good headache. It's not just our headache. It's a headache for the opposition to consider as well. But I believe in the manager, so I'm happy to let him do his thing here.
Yeah.
I know Schwinn won't know this because he didn't watch it, but United played 5 at the back on Saturday horrendously. Their back 3 was McTominay, Matic, and Phil Jones in the middle of the two. So, yeah. I don't know if they're still out, but Smalling and Bailly were both injured. And Rojo was on the bench for some reason. So look, you don't know if they've only got them options available, then they will have to go with a back five because they're not going to pay two of them free.
How did the Saints set up against them?
Southampton went back five as well.
Oh, okay.
I mean, if they go for a back three, I would love for us to match them because I think we can outrun them. I think we have more skill than them, and obviously with their injuries, I wouldn't worry a whole lot about what damage they can do.
Yeah, I mean they both lined up pretty similar with, so they had Lukaku up top with Rashford. I'd say is very similar to what we played with Aubameyang and Lacazette, where you could kind of half argue that one of them was dropping off a bit, but they were the striker. And then they played. So then they had a back five: Herrera, Pogba. Who's the other one? Fellaini. Herrera, Pogba, Fellaini, and then two up top. So it was more of a 5-3-2. Rashford floated about in behind Lukaku a bit, but it was more of a 5-3-2 they played.
That'd be interesting, boys. Okay.
I did read somewhere, just quickly, Tez, I did read somewhere that Diego Dallo will be back. I don't know if he played against Southampton.
He came on. Luke Shaw went off injured. I don't know how bad it is. Ashley Young switched to left wing back, and Dallo came on.
Yeah, so that's a bit more strength in the back for them, but I don't know if it's enough to switch back from back five to a back four, especially if they're like
it's a centre back. So the issue, if Jones is the only recognised centre back, I don't think they're going to play him in a two with Matic or McTominay. I think they'll feel they need the extra man. But if Rojo's back, because as I said he was on the bench, then they may go over four because at least then they've got two recognised centre backs.
It's a perfect time to play Man United, especially away from home. They're dealing with some injuries, and we've just got a very good win. So if this is the time you can go and do some damage and pick up the points, we can really look back on these two fixtures with a lot of optimism, and then of course look at the upcoming schedule, which is going to be very tough with the number of games this month. So I don't think we could have wished for a better time to play them.
We'll see after Wednesday.
That sounds about right.
All right, so we've got a question from Raf. So once again, boys, talking about Ramsey. Even though Ramsey doesn't quite fit in Emery's system, we're better off trying to sell Mickey and use his wages to keep Ramsey, especially as he's younger of the two and the more proven for us. There's a lot of, and Mohammed, he talks about a big shout out for Ramsey. He made the difference. Anthony Jackson says Ramsey coming on was a turning point. Is it time for Arsenal to reconsider and offer him a new contract? Yeah, so we have covered a fair bit about Ramsey, but you boys just want to add any there on them three questions?
Well, it's just going to come down to money, I think. I don't think anyone's completely against keeping Ramsey at the club. And I think we've seen that saying he doesn't fit the system is probably wrong. Because the second half system yesterday suited him perfectly. It's all going to depend on games. But what you've got to factor in is, are we going to play enough games in a system that suits him to warrant giving him the money he wants? Or what money is he worth for the games that we're going to need him and the style we're going to need him in? I'm not going to lie, I was a bit upset. Not upsetting, but it wasn't the nicest to see him playing on Thursday with essentially a youth team. You think, look, he's done his job for the club and he's a top professional, because I know a lot of players would have basically stopped trying now. I don't want to get injured before. Do you remember, come June, he's unemployed. So if he gets a bad injury now, no one's going to offer him a contract then, so he's not earning. But fair play to him, he's still trying. And he's done some great things for this club, whether you rate him or not. And it was a bit of a shame to see him basically wheeled out with the youth team. But fair play to him, gave it his all, had a really good game, won a penalty, scored it. And that says a lot about him.
No, I agree with you. It was heartbreaking. Well, not heartbreaking, I suppose. It was, well, as you say, disappointing to see him run around with the youth. He's better than that, I suppose, is probably the word you're looking for.
Yeah, I mean, you're used to... Yeah, I mean, I thought heartbreaking, but it didn't actually break my heart, so I was trying to think of a lesser word.
Yeah.
But you're used to seeing some first-team players maybe rolled out with the youngsters in a game like that, but if they're coming back from injury or whatnot. But someone who's been fit all season... And look, I didn't realise he was top of the assists in the Premier League. Didn't have a clue. Really surprised me when I found out. To have 6 assists by December in a team where I think he started 3 games is no easy feat. He's done well. But yeah, it's, as I said, it's all, and we all knew it anyway, that Aaron Ramsey's a very good professional, and that's testament to him. That doesn't mean he's worth 250 grand a week or whatever the figure may be, and that doesn't mean we should definitely give him a contract, but he does deserve some credit for what he's doing at the moment. And I know, as I said, I'm surprised a lot of people he's got as much credit as he has, because a lot of people have written him off. I've seen so many people say, "Oh, as far as I'm concerned, he should never play for the club again," and blah blah blah. And we've had them questions in the past, but as long as he keeps doing what he's doing, he should be every bit as involved as Emery sees fit.
My only worry is that in these questions, and as I asked you boys before, you know, what do you pay for a guy who comes on from the bench? Like, you know, a couple of times we've wondered when Lacazette's come from the bench or Aubameyang's come from the bench, when like we just paid 60-odd fucking million for that bloke and he sits on the fucking bench. But what I suppose I was getting at on that is that on that question was, you know, I don't want to be paying $250,000 a week for a bloke to sit on the bench and come on 20 minutes to a game, and okay, if he gets a couple of assists and whatnot. I know it's not my money, but for me it's a waste of talent for him as well to sit on the bench. So it comes back to midweek game. It was disappointing to see him in that team because he's better than that, and you know, like that's type of where I was coming at on that question. Like, I
agree with you, but look, if you got, basically you're saying that the team, not you're saying, but by that theory, the team has to be Lacazette with Aubameyang, Ozil and Mkhitaryan behind him, because otherwise you've got someone on astronomical wages sitting on the bench. You can't let wages pick the team.
Well, you've got to let him go.
But then either way, there's always going to be someone missing. Look, like, there's always going to be someone missing out that's on good wages. As soon as like Iwobi comes in, who's been playing well and deserves to be in the team, or if we go free midfield or whatever, there's always going to be a very high earner, an exceedingly high earner on the bench. It's the way football's going. Look, I think we got used to Wenger trying to live a model where basically everyone earned pretty similar wages, and we got used to that. But that's not how football going, and soon everyone's going to be on stupid wages.
Well, look, Mkhitaryan, he's going to be getting a bit of a wage increase or something, and if he hangs around, who knows? But let's say he hangs around, and like I don't know if many Arsenal fans would be real happy that he becomes one of the top 3 wage earners, and
he's there or thereabouts already.
He's pretty much is, but well, he'd be pretty much the fucking top in when he gets his increase, wouldn't he?
No, it won't. I mean, that will never happen. As I said, I don't fully believe the story. I know Schwinn does, but I don't. But either way, even without that, even on his current wage, he's in the top 4 earners at the club, which is, for me, nonsense. But as I said, you're always going to have someone sitting out. I don't think you can just define a team by wages.
Just the way it is, I suppose.
Like, I checks on more than Leno. Check sitting on the bench.
Yeah.
Koscielny's on more than any other centre back, and I don't think he'll come back into the team.
But I think we are going through, like, and obviously we are going through it. Well, it's a transition stage from Wenger, so you know, things I'd like to think would balance out in the next, 12 months, 2 years, when a few of these players come off contract. Like, I put a poll out for the during the week after that midweek game, and I didn't put Janko on the poll, but I think there were so many comments of Janko, he had the best game, and I thought, are people just feeling sorry for him? They're saying a comment like, there's a bloke just sitting on wages, high wages, I presume, because he ain't fucking seem to be going anywhere, just sitting on the bench, not even in the first team.
Yeah, arguably, yeah, but I mean, again, wages don't define performance. I'm not saying Janko should be anywhere near the first team, but I would put him up there with, if he wasn't the best player, he was certainly in the top 3 on Thursday. It's two different things. Wages and performance don't. In an ideal world, they would match, but then that means Alexis Sanchez would be the player of the year in the Premier League, and he's probably not in the top 100 at the moment. And Pogba would be second or third, and he's not in the top 10 at the moment. Wages don't mean a thing.
Mm-hmm. I suppose. Okay, Jake L. Schwinn, what's the difference, positive or negative, would Ozil have made on today's game? Would we have won by more, possibly even lost?
Ooh, that's a tough one, isn't it? I mean, such a hypothetical. I think it's maybe harsh to say we would have lost, and I think it's a bit too biased to say we would have won by more. You know, either way, I think it's not a question that really begs an answer, does it?
Well, this is the debate that Ozil brings to the team, isn't it? It's if he performs, we seem to win by heaps, and if he doesn't perform, people go, well, he didn't perform today, and therefore we lost the game, or we drew the game against such and such, and because Ozil didn't perform, and that's type of the tag that he's got, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's fair. I mean, to an extent, it's fair. You know, look, if you look at some of the big games, he hasn't quite produced those numbers, and I would agree with that. And even in the so-called not big games, you know, he doesn't always perform. But I don't think that should put a question mark on his capability. I think sometimes, as you know, it's about the role he's given, the duty he's given, and if he continues to create chances or a hockey assist or you know, something to the tune of that, then that gets overlooked. And look, there's no denying that the kid's got a lot of talent, right? It's just how much of value you put on that talent, and I think that's where the distinction lies. I, for one, am a massive fan of what he does, and at the same time, I'm happy to acknowledge the areas where he lacks. But I do think there's, you know, at times, especially after games where he's not involved and we go on to win like this, that we question whether we need him or not. And I think to an extent that's stipulated by his contract. Again, a fair criticism, but I think it's not one that I hold a lot of water to, because I know what he's capable of. I think we all do. And because of, you know, individual situations, games, we tend to blow them out of proportion.
Yeah, I was just looking back as you were talking. So obviously, you know, we won in the Bournemouth game without him. Now, he played in the Wolves game where we drew 1-1. I don't remember us saying Ozil had a bad game in that game, so I couldn't put that draw down to him. However, then I look back to the Liverpool game, and we drew. Did we draw that one? Did we?
Yep.
Yeah. So Ozil, I remember us saying he wasn't as good as he probably could have been. So
that's not what happened. He was very good against Liverpool.
Was he good against Liverpool? Was he? I was just trying to.
Yeah, as I said, the thing is with Liverpool, and I remember the reason I remember it is I tweeted it at the time saying in the coming weeks, months, or years, people will tell you he wasn't good because he didn't get a goal or an assist.
That's what it was. Yeah. Okay. So you know, there's two games we drew that I couldn't say, oh, that was because of Ozil. That's right. I remember the Liverpool game. Now we were very impressed with that one. Torreira.
Look, just quickly, since 2009 up till the start of this season, you know, he has been in the top. He's appeared 5 times in the top 20 for creating chances and key passes. That tells you all you need to know about him. Now, if you don't put a lot of value to those two things, that's fine. You know, everyone watches football and appreciates different things. That's completely fine. That's your opinion. You're entitled to it. But you don't expect him to do things that A, he's not put the team to do, and B, he's not good at. If he's being asked to do things he's not good at, then there's a deeper issue there. So, you know, it's about striking that balance from a spectator point of view. And I think at times we tend to, you know, either participate in lazy criticism, calling him lazy, ironically, or at times just don't appreciate that he does create chances, but 1 out of 4 gets finished. It was because of the lack of a striker earlier, or a lethal finisher. Although I love Olivier Giroud, I'm not trying to take him out here. And at this moment, I think it's just a problem, and it's his problem in not being able to A, be fit, and B, force himself into the team, and when he does, string a few consistent performances together. I think that is his problem, and he needs to sort that out. But I don't think that's worthy enough of questioning his quality. I don't think that's fair, because his track record clearly says otherwise.
Okay, last one, and I've left this one for you, Tony, because you were talking about it during the week. I presume it was you. How much of a pussy is Merson and Sherwood after the 4-2 anal we gave Tottenham?
They're there. The Sherwood's one's an absolute joke. I don't know if anyone's heard the TalkSport clip, the interview I done on TalkSport. He hasn't even picked the best Tottenham team. I'm not saying it should have been a Tottenham 11, but at least pick the best Tottenham 11 if you're going to do it. Not some Tottenham reserves. It's just it's stupid. I think as one of our followers asked me to do mine, and I done mine, and it was 6-5 either way. I can't remember if it was 6 Tottenham, 5 Arsenal, or vice versa. I don't really hold much stead to these half and halves, but the press or the media, and especially people like Merson and Sherwood, do it to get you talking about them. Everyone's talking about them. They was talking about them the night it came out. They were talking about them the day after. I think it came out on the Thursday. They were talking about them on the Friday. I done an interview on TalkSport on the Saturday where that was the main subject. The game happens Sunday. As soon as it finishes, everyone's tweeting them. We're recording the day after the game. We're talking about it. We've had a question about it. So they've done their job. They don't care if it's right or wrong. You're never gonna get a team right. So they're just, you've got to realise, and I used to fall for this all the time, they're just trying to get themselves views. That video on Sky Sports Twitter has probably had, I don't want to put a number on it, but a crazy amount of views. And most of the comments are probably saying, oh, this is nonsense. But that probably happens every time Sky Sports put an opinion out. And if they didn't want that, they would stop getting these people in to getting opinions. But they don't care if people agree with what they say. They care that people are watching it and listening to it. And that's what they've done. I'm not saying stop listening to it or stop acknowledging it, because each to their own. I've had my comment on it, so I'd be a hypocrite if I told anyone else not to. But it is what it is. They do something to get attention, and they're very good at it.
What attention can we get? I'm trying to think now.
Well, I mean, look, we've no, but let's be honest. We've done it in similar ways before, where we've said stuff that, whether we agree with it or not, we knew that was controversial, and not so much about Arsenal. I'm talking about other Twitter accounts.
Yeah.
And we got a load of attention from it. I'd imagine them weeks were probably our biggest views, and it was mainly negative. But is it really any different from what Sky Sports have done?
Not really.
So it happened, and it's not just look, everyone does it. Look, let's take Arsenal Fan TV, and I'm not bashing them, but they say stuff that is at times bordering on the ridiculous, and it gets views.
Well, you have to. You have to say, the occasional dumb thing, like, or not dumb, whether it be dumb or however you want to call it, but you got to be a bit controversial, and it gets hits and views and likes and whatever, and that's what I imagine Sherwood done. Like that team, I wouldn't agree with.
No, but and as I said, the thing is that most of the comments replying to that, both when we've done it, when Arsenal Fan TV have done it, when Sherwood's done it on Sky Sports, all of the comments will be negative and disagreeing. But that doesn't matter. Unfortunately, you don't get, like, in all these metrics that make you money and whatnot, you don't get rated on how much people agree with you. You get rated on how much people watch and listen to you. Mm-hmm. And look, I mean, none of us take any money for this or whatever. We have no adverts. We've been offered the opportunity. We've never done it to anyone that listens. So we don't do it for money. But it's exactly the same with us. We get offered stuff based on our views, not based on our content. Yeah, so if you've got a lot of people listening, it doesn't matter if I could say something ridiculous and loads of people listen, and every single one of them people could agree. But if there's loads of people listening, we would get offered more money for it.
Mm-hmm. No, that's exactly right. What's that? I'm just trying to think. What's that guy I interviewed that? Fuck, my memory's bad. Was it the Mirror?
John Cross.
John Cross, that's him. He, and over the years, he's probably lovely bloke. Like when I had him on the show, absolutely gentleman. But he's said some controversial things over the years, and I suppose that's, much the same as what we're talking about now.
Well, he's got, I think, 300,000 Twitter followers and a full-time job watching football that he probably earns quite good money for. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you can think he's a dick if you want, not you personally, but listeners can think he's a dick and disagree with all these tweets and all these opinions. But let's be honest, he's doing well for himself.
Doing very well, absolutely. Yeah. And like I said, I spoke with him, and he was absolute gentleman. So, yeah. Okay, boys, that's about a wrap for us. So I'm going to get a quick prediction off you, though, for the Man United game. Schwinn?
I don't think it's going to be as easy as we think, but I'm going to be overtly optimistic, and I'll say 3-0 to the Arsenal.
Okay, Tony?
Well, because I was forced to give one on TalkSport, and now I'm seen to be actually doing predictions, I've now changed my mind. I'm not going to say 10-0 every week now. I'm going to say 2-1 every week.
2-1 every week.
For some reason, that's even more annoying, isn't it?
Oh, it is, yeah. 2-1. Fuck's sake.
Well, it's because I've now actually got the opportunity to be right, whereas 10-0 I was never going to be right. Now, if I say 2-1, at some point I'm going to be like, yeah, told you.
Told you, right.
5 for 5, right?
I'm going to go. I think this is going to be a bloodbath. Arsenal are absolutely going to rape Manchester United. That you're going to see it on Pornhub, and I am saying 6-1 to the Arsenal.
Ooh, historic.
Yep, I reckon we're going to fucking absolutely smash it. Okay, boys, that's about it. Thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading.
Just to tell people, we will have a podcast after there's two things. We will have a podcast after the Man United game. I know we haven't really done midweeks recently, but we're waiting for Tez to figure out what day it is in Australia because he never has a clue. And secondly, Tez, the competition.
Yes, I just got a note here. So Urban Arsenal, he was giving away some shirts, and we asked you to do some stuff. So we had some competition running. And loyal listener, and he asks questions every week as well. So even though you all enter, but I want to know who you are, and I want to hear you every week and ask questions. So Cosman Butter, he's our winner for this week or this competition. So we'll be in touch with you, Cosman, and thanks for listening, buddy. Thanks for all your interaction, and there'll be a shirt heading your way. Yeah, we don't know when we're going to record next, so we will be in touch, and that's it, boys. Thank you, everyone. Follow us at Twitter, where the fuck we are, at @clockend_talk, also on YouTube, Facebook. Any of you boys on fucking Grindr or something? Who knows? You can probably find fucking Schwinn there, and yeah, thanks again, and we'll catch us next week. See you, boys.
Cheers.